To Stories Around the Fire. Tonight's guest is Eric Hanson, who is a Dallas based artist. I'm going to go ahead and send him this link because we've had a little bit of trouble getting connected tonight before I introduce him. Um, his gorgeous works have been featured in many galleries and shows. He captures landmarks and the light, giving an authentic perspective to the area's most loved architectural marvels and local staples. He even did some work on Big Tex, and if you've ever been to the fair, you know who Big Tex is. I do want to apologize to him and to you guys because I've been in bed with a migraine all day, so I don't have the lights on and stuff. But he has something really awesome he's going to share with us, and we're going to go ahead and get started on that. But yeah, I do want to apologize to anyone viewing and to Eric because I've been so excited about this. Yay, we did it.
All right.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? You feeling any better?
I am feeling a little bit better. Lights are still bothering me though, and I apologize for not being lit up well.
No, that's all right.
I so rarely have migraines, and I was really bummed out to get one today. But
Sure, man.
super excited about this interview because I love your art. I first seen the Meadows building, and I used to work next to it, and I
Yeah?
just love the way that you painted it. And then I started looking at all your other stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like really great art. So I definitely,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm so excited about this. So if it's all right with you, I see that you're doing a painting right now, yeah?
Yeah, can you tell what it is yet?
Let me see. I don't think I can yet.
Okay, that's fine. It's something I've been wanting to paint for a long time, and I was actually planning on painting it a couple of months ago, and I decided this would be a good time to do it. Anyway, I'll just keep on painting, and when you recognize it, you can tell me
Oh,
if you recognize it.
yes.
So
That's
yeah.
yeah, and if anybody watching recognizes it, let us know. So how did you get into art? Have you always been an artist?
Well, kind of. I've always doodled. I've always drawn things like that. I never really had much confidence. I never knew what I wanted to draw. Um, I first got into. Can you hear me all right when I'm not facing you? Can you hear me all right? Okay, my back's to you. Okay, so I first started realizing that drawing artwork could be a career when Roger Rabbit came out. That was day after my birthday in June 22nd, 1988, and I saw that and I was like, oh, I got to do this. And so I studied animation on my own for a little bit and ended up right out of high school getting some screen credits on some just painting for some cartoons you never heard of. Um, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
In college, I ended up working. I ended up working with Jim Henson's uncle of all people.
Wow.
Um, this was back in 1991, 92, and his name was Tex Henson, and he was an old Disney animator and did Bullwinkle. And me and a friend found out he was trying to start an animation company, and we joined that. And I'd been wanting to be an animator for 3 years or four, longer, I guess, since '88, whatever '88 to '92. And then I started. I did a couple of frames just to test, and I realized I was so slow at it that I was like, well, I can't do this. I'm never going to do this again. So there went my animation goals. Um, but this was before the computer stuff too, or before it was prominent.
Right.
So it was all hand drawn. Um, so I went to college for graphic design, figuring I'd do just commercial art. I didn't really know what that entailed, but at the time, everybody who knew me knew that I liked art, stuff like that. They go, "Oh, graphic design, that's the career you want to get now. It's going to be big money." Of course, if everyone does it, you know, cheapens it lowers the market value. But anyway, so out of high school, out of college, I did graphic design for JCPenney and stuff like that, and that's when I learned about the internet. did web graphics for a while, and I did web graphics off and on for like 20 years.
Wow.
Um, in '95, some friends of mine were having a baby, and they said, "Hey, Eric, we want you to paint a mural in our baby room."
Oh,
And I was like, "What? I don't know how to paint murals." And they go, "Oh yeah, we know you don't, but we want you to do it anyway." I'm like, "All right." So I did Mickey and Minnie Mouse. That's somewhere on my Instagram feed if you scroll down. I don't think it's too far. I posted it again a couple months ago. But just Mickey and Minnie Mouse. I think I took like 3 days to do it, and it's only like it's. I think it's slightly bigger than this. It took me 3 days to do it in the evenings, and I think I charged them like $50.
oh,
So even in 1995, that's not a lot. But I didn't know anything about pricing or whatever. That led to other murals, and I ended up doing murals kind of as a side job. Well, ever since, and I've probably done about 50 or 60 murals by now,
wow.
but they're mostly in people's homes, so they're not out there for everyone to see, and none of them are the same style, and that was because I didn't feel comfortable with it. I would paint Mickey Mouse on one room. In another house, I'd paint the Beatles' Abbey Road, and another one I'd do Renoir or something like that. So you could never look at a painting and say, "Oh, Eric Hanson did that," because I didn't have my own style. I didn't have the confidence for it. So I never considered myself an artist, even though everyone else did. Um, but yeah, all this time I was doing graphic design work. I did some other jobs too, but mostly graphic design. And then about 10 years ago, a little longer than that, but my daughter, who's sitting here, by the way, she,
Hello.
yeah, she's
Hi.
doing her, she's doing her own artwork now. But she was like 2.5, and she just drew all the time, and she didn't have any inhibition at all. She didn't have any confidence issues or anything like that. She just drew whatever she wanted to. And I was I was going through a divorce at the time, and I thought it was a great time to just kind of reboot my life and start from scratch. And I thought, well, why am I not doing this? I can draw. I can do art. Why? You got a 2.5-year-old who has all the confidence in the world. Why don't I?
Right.
I can better than she is. I can't say that now, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. This was in 2010, I suppose, and I wanted to. My goal was to paint what I wanted to paint, and I wanted to hang it up and have people buy it. And I had two problems. One of them was I didn't know what I wanted to paint, and the other one was I didn't know how to hang up and have people buy it.
Right.
So, but I figured I at least had the goal and work from there. So I around February of 2001, that's what I wanted to do, and I still had a full-time job, but I wanted to be a full-time painter. That's what I wanted to do, and I was trying to figure out, well, what do I want to paint, and what do I want to paint that people can recognize me for, that only I do, or at least has a look to it
Right.
that people can recognize me. And so I was, I was one morning I was taking a shower and had glass doors in the shower and they'd fog up, and I just flicked water on the shower door and it made a pattern. And I was like, you know what? I wish I could just flick paint and have it be something. But I wasn't serious. I was just thinking lazy. And that was that. And I just went on my day. But then like a week later, I did it again, and that same thought crossed my mind. And then like the third time it happened, third time I did it, I guess, I was like, wait a minute. The paint's got to land somewhere. I just got to make sure it lands where I want it to land.
Right.
And I didn't know how to do it, but I just kind of turned it around in my head for about a month. And then I came up with this idea, which I won't reveal, but it was based on a project I had done several years ago. I thought, I'll just use what I learned on that and see if it works. So I did it, and I did a picture of my daughter. In fact, I got it right here. So I dip my fingers in paint and I flick it. There's more to it than that, but it's all flick. There's no brush strokes. And so I do a painting like that. So I don't know if you can see
Oh, yeah.
up close.
That is so beautiful.
It's all splatters. Thank you. So I thought, and I think that's on. You can see a couple of my splatter paintings on my Instagram page as well. But I thought, that turned out all right. I'm going to put it on Facebook. And within a day, I had 3 orders. So I was like,
Oh,
oh, whoa, I'm going to keep on doing this.
yeah, definitely.
So I did, yeah, I did that for a while. By the way, this is still the answer to your question, have I been painting long?
No, I
So
love it.
I can't tell a short answer, by the
Good.
way. So yeah, I was doing graphic design work at the time in the petroleum industry. And it was for a professional society. They weren't like a gas company or anything like that. And uh, I wanted to leave there and start my own business as a painter, doing the splatter paintings. But I didn't really have a financial safety net.
Yeah.
Kind of just pushed it off for a while. But I was looking for opportunities. Well, one day they called us in and said, "Hey, for the first time in our 70-year history, we're going to have to do layoffs." And I've been laid off before, and I hate that feeling of lack of control. You know, the powerlessness. Um, it's a powerlessness because I don't know what I'm going to be doing when I get laid off,
Yeah.
and I didn't have any say in it. I didn't, I was forced into it. It's kind of a double thing like that. Anyway, it said if anyone wants to volunteer to be laid off, we'll make sure that you get a nice severance package based on how long you've been here.
Ooh.
I was like, that's fair, but I don't know. I mean, that's still kind of a big risk. I don't know what I'm doing as far as setting up a business and all that.
Right.
They give us 2 weeks. They give us 2 weeks to decide. So I thought, you know what? I think I'll just wait till the end of the 2 weeks, and the last day I'll flip a coin and decide. And then 2 days later, I wake up. It's like a Wednesday morning. I wake up and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the opportunity I've been looking for. So I went in and I accepted their layoff, and it felt so freeing. There's such a sense of freedom because even though I didn't know what I was doing, I uh, I called the shot on that, and so I wasn't like thrown out in the street unpredictably. I mean, I was the one who did it, and it felt so good to have that control, even though I didn't know how I was going to live.
Right.
And that severance pay lasted several. They actually treated me really well, health insurance and stuff like that.
Good.
So I got no complaints on that. But I wondered after that happened, I wondered how many other opportunities I've passed up in my life that I just didn't take because I wasn't looking for them.
It's the theater. Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt, but I was like, wait a minute. That's awesome.
So yeah, I've been wanting to paint this for a couple of years. I just haven't got around to it.
Yes. Speaking of layoffs, I just got laid off from there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, no,
Oh,
I love it.
I thought, oh, this will be good. This will be good because she's a manager there. And now it's like, oh, thanks for bringing it up, Eric.
Oh, God. No, I mean, it's,
Okay.
the safety of
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Say again.
I said it's for the safety of the public and, like that. It was not a bad thing at all. Like, it was all good.
Okay, okay.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Go ahead, though.
yeah, this was going to be a little surprise for you, but that didn't quite work out the way I expected. I'm sure more so for you than for me.
No, it's great.
But,
I love the building. The building's one of my favorite buildings ever. Like me and one of the other managers used to talk all the time about how much we just liked being in that space.
when was it built, by the way? 1920s, 30s?
I
Later than that?
think it was like 26, I'm pretty sure. I should know this.
Okay.
I think
That's all right. You're interviewing me. I'm not interviewing you, so you shouldn't have to know it.
yeah, I'm
But
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, it's all right. But yeah, so I wondered how many opportunities have I passed up in my life that just went by me because I wasn't looking for them. Because this one almost passed me by, and I was looking.
Right.
So anyway, after the layoff happened, I was just going to do splatter painting, but I had already started doing a couple of Dallas landmarks just for fun. I wasn't trying to sell them, but I'd put them on Facebook, and people would go, "Hey, is that for sale?" Well, it is now.
Right.
So I was going to have my first show, I think, I got laid off my last day. My first day of my self-employment was November 2nd. And So I figured I was going to do the spider painting, and I had a show coming up, and I was going to do nothing but the spider painting. But when I announced it, everyone said, "Oh, I can't wait to go and see your Dallas paintings." I wasn't planning on doing Dallas paintings, and this is all splatter, so don't get your hopes up because it's not going to be there. But I had so many people ask about them. I thought, well, I guess I'll bring the spider. I'll bring the Dallas paintings too, and see what happens. And nobody cared about the spider painting. I mean, they liked them, but people really had a connection to the Dallas ones. And I thought, well, I like painting them, and they like buying them. It's a win-win.
Right.
So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Definitely.
And,
That's awesome.
by
That's
the way,
an interesting story.
yeah.
That's so cool. So, what are you talked about doing like a ton of murals and you've done so many different like landmarks and different places, local haunts. What are some
Yeah.
of the projects that you've done as far as like your live painting stuff, or where are you doing stuff like that? I know things have probably changed since the pandemic, but where have you?
Yeah. So I a couple of years ago, I was showing my work in the Magnolia Hotel, just in the cafe down there, and I got an Instagram message from Pottery Barn, one on Knox Street. And I live right off of Knox Street, so it's right down the street from me. And um, they said, "Hey, we're doing a thing. All the Williams Sonoma stores are doing something with local people, and we want to do local artists. Would you like to be our first one?" So I was like, "All right." So I did that for a month or two, and then I thought, well, I'll try the Fort Worth Pottery Barn, and they were doing it by every 2 weeks at the time. So I had to do at the time I was only doing Dallas stuff, but I found out Dallas people love Fort Worth landmarks, but Fort Worth people do not want to have anything to do with Dallas landmarks. um, so anyway, so I had to do a lot of Fort Worth landmark paintings, and so I did about a dozen of them before the show, before I just set up there. And this is my full-time job, so I could just leave my paintings there and have people buy them. But if they decide they want the painting, and then if I make it more difficult for them, like they had to call the number or whatever, then that just reduces my chances for making a sale. So I thought I'll just hang around there. And while I was there, I was like, well, I'm gonna get some work done. I might as well bring some paintings. So I just pulled up a table and chair and I just started painting, and figured if they didn't like me doing that, they'd just tell me to stop. But then the customers would come by and say, "Oh my gosh, are you painting? Oh, hey, come check out this guy. He's painting." And turns out people would come just to see that, and I was just getting work done.
Right.
So that's just for pure practical purposes. Then like Pottery Barn would say, "Hey, you going to come and do live painting again?"
Oh,
Oh, sure, yeah. So there goes being kicked out for doing painting in someone's store.
right.
But yeah. So anyway, I got a business coach last year, and he had me analyze where I'm getting most of my business, and it turns out a good chunk of my business was coming from doing these live paintings.
Mm-hmm.
For a store or something like that, depending on the store. But with these Pottery Barns, I'm not charging them to do it. I've started recently charging new ones, but I was new at the time, and they helped me get started. So I wasn't charging them, but I was still making a lot of sales. So that was what my analysis came up with, was do more live paintings. So I thought, oh, this year, 2020, I'm going to triple the amount of live paintings I do.
No.
And I just started booking left and right. And then March came around, I had to cancel like all of them at once. So there goes that idea.
That is a bummer.
So I did. Let's see. I did the Jaguar dealership back in middle of August. I did live painting for them
That's cool.
in Dallas, and then Pottery Barn called me up, and the last day of August, I think it was, I did live painting for them just for the weekend. I don't think I've done any more this year. I think those are the only two I've done. and I've done some Facebook live painting. It's not quite the same, but yeah. I don't think I have any. Oh, I did live painting just last weekend in Durant, Oklahoma. Forget about
Oh, that's
that.
cool.
Yeah, I did a mural for someone over there and for Main Street. It's a movable thing. It's on a 5 foot by 10 foot board,
Mhm.
and so the store there wanted to carry my merchandise,
Nice.
and one of the things that we talked about was I do a live painting. So they had an event, the Oktoberfest event last last weekend. So I went out there and did live painting just for like 5 hours.
That's cool.
So
That you're still getting.
that's the only live painting I've done. Sorry.
That's cool that you're still getting to do, some live things because,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's then a couple of years ago, I had people calling me up. Hey, can you do our Christmas parties?
Oh,
Well, I'm I'm not doing that for free.
no.
So so yeah, that's actually it was great business for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like doing that. I could I could do a live painting for hire every other weekend. I'd be doing all right.
You guys heard it
But
here. That's
say
awesome.
again.
I was saying, everybody that's watching, in the future or now, you heard it here. He wants to do the live paintings at parties. Hire him out.
Yeah, uh, yeah, like office parties. That really works out well because you can have those for like Fourth of July. I think most of them have Christmas, but office parties for no reason to, and for conventions, things like that. I've done
Yeah,
live paintings for conventions.
that's so cool.
Um,
Where do you
but yeah,
sell
mainly.
stuff?
Sorry.
Where do you sell most of your stuff this year? Like since not being able to push everything through live stuff, is it like through your website or Instagram, Facebook?
I haven't really tracked it this year. Whenever I get a new client, I put where I met them, but I haven't analyzed it this year. But I mean, I got, considering I was at Pottery Barn Fort Worth for just 3 days, I've got a surprising amount of business from just those 3 days.
Oh,
But that was in August, so I don't remember what I got. I got some from doing live painting on Facebook.
oh, cool.
Uh, Facebook is one of my biggest. Like I I have paid for advertisement on Facebook, but I've never gotten any business from the paid advertisement. I get it from just posting.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
And people
Um,
sharing your stuff. Yeah. I think that's where I seen like someone had shared it. I don't remember who it was, but that's where I
yeah,
found your stuff.
that's how the guy in Oklahoma found me. I still don't. Yeah, he found me. Someone shared my work, and he found it. Contacts me.
That's so
Yeah, it's
cool.
crazy.
That's really like an authentic, way to get things. That's really cool. People love your stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a beating because you don't know where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
after a while, it gets a little better. This year was supposed to be my biggest year because this is my 5th year. I'm just about to wrap up my 5th year, and everyone I talked to said, "Oh yeah, when you have a business, it takes 3 years to get steady and 5 years to become really, really booming profitable. That's how long it takes." It's like, oh, this is my year, and this year started out fantastic. It was had my best month in my whole life by a long shot, and I thought, oh, this is it. This is gonna be the greatest year ever. And then March, and it's like, oh well, I hope you saved up from December.
Right.
But yeah, so maybe next year. But this year's been about the same as every other year for me. I mean, I'm still at home by myself a lot of times painting, so I haven't really noticed any difference. I forget that everyone else it's new to everybody else.
Introvert. Yeah.
Well, no, I love being out, but I just have to stay at home to get work done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of been a weird year for everybody. Yeah.
yeah, I know.
So, what tools and supplies do you use that are your like must-haves?
Well, for live painting, I got to bring my easel. I have a backpack full of paint. Um, got my paints, got my brushes. Mm, I have a checklist because I have forgotten stuff. I have forgotten my brushes.
Oh no.
That's no good. Fortunately, it wasn't for a real gig. I was just going to be helping somebody out, and I was going to be by myself all day. And I thought, oh, I'll bring something to paint. And I get there, and there was no brushes. So nobody suffered for it. I just
Right.
poured out of my mind. But now I'm always making sure to bring brushes. I, I I work with photographs, so I have done it where I just go out in the park and paint whatever I see, but that's not always convenient.
Yeah.
So I work with photographs. I go ahead and lay out my paintings on the computer. Uh, just I'll put them into Photoshop, and I have several templates for each size canvas that I ever use. So this is a 36 by 36. So I'll put the photo in there, size it, tilt it, uh, saying, the colors are kind of drab. I'm going to pop out the colors a little bit, and it's all just for reference,
Right.
you know. So yeah, when I'm all done in Photoshop, I have uh, what I want it to look like. I have a photograph of what I want it to look at, and that's what I use for reference. And I don't have to match it exactly. I just want to
A loose idea.
get. Yeah, my biggest thing that I want to do is make sure that people know what it is they're looking at. I don't want it to be confusing at all.
Right.
So then, secondly, uh, I want it to look good. Yeah, you'd think that would be the first one, but no, that's the second one. I want to make sure because, well, like on this one, there's a really good chance that the letters could blend in. So I had to make sure when I designed it that the village theater is not going to blend in with this background.
Yeah.
So, like some of the reference photos I had were taken in the afternoon. Well, as you probably know, this is backlit in the afternoon, so it's all shadow. Well, the letters would have blended right in. So, for the photos I used for this, I showed up there at like 7 in the morning
Oh,
when coming up and just took a bunch of reference photos
yeah.
because I knew that's when the lighting was going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, there's a website dedicated to where the sun's going to be any hour of any day of the year.
That's
So
cool.
like, before I like if I have to go around town taking pictures of 8 different houses for the day, I plan my route based on where the sun's going to be using this app. Saves me a lot of trouble.
A
But
lot.
yeah, that's what I did on this.
That's cool.
So yeah, I use the computer to plan it out, and then when I'm done, I just put the image on my phone. And right now, I have it on my laptop because I'm using the phone to talk to you. Uh, but yeah, normally I'm just looking at my phone and say, okay, I need to come close to this color.
Right.
And
That's
I use the same 11 colors for everything I do, so I'm never really going to match it.
right.
But I just need a general reference.
Yeah. That seems like it's a lot of like prep work, but I think that it definitely pays off. And maybe that's, that's a lesson for any other artist who are, trying to get better. Like, put some time and research into the prep.
I do. I'm a big planner, and like with that splatter painting, I wanted to get it right the first time. I, I'm like kind of a cheapskate. I don't want to waste canvas. I don't want to waste paint. I don't want to waste my time. So I'd much rather, like for those splatter paintings, I probably put more time into the planning of it than I do in the actual painting. Because, if I screw it up, I got to throw the whole canvas away.
Mhm.
So I don't want to screw it up. I want to get it right the first time.
Right.
This one, these type of paintings, it's not as volatile. If I screw it up, I can paint over it. Um, and the screw ups aren't as noticeable. They're just a little brush stroke here. It's not a big deal with a splatter painting. So yeah, I really value a lot of planning. To be honest, I probably prefer the planning over the
Really?
painting. Yeah, more relaxing for me. I just sit at the computer all day. Um, yeah, but I like the painting. The main reason I do the painting though is to get the results. If I could get the results any other way, I'd probably do it that way. But yeah, to do the painting,
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I like doing it. Yeah,
Well,
there's certain things you can only do with paint.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of feeling when you look at like, something original, hand painted, there's emotion behind it. That's how I see it. I don't know. Artists.
Yeah. Also, I'll go ahead.
No, that was all.
So something I've learned accidentally was if I make a mistake and I like the mistake, I can keep it.
Right.
And if I know what I did, I can duplicate it. And now it's not a mistake anymore. And now it's a decision. It's an artistic decision. And the way I do the paintings on here, I make a lot of, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but they're things that I couldn't have planned. The way I do the, like painting on here, the way I do these paintings, and I haven't been painting much, but see, the way I do these paintings is I don't use a palette. I just like do, do,
Oh,
do,
wow.
put the paint on there. Let's see, the next one would be this. Uh-huh. So this is how I do it. And then I just paint it on there, and it doesn't mix all the way. I make it, sometimes, like on this one, I tried to mix it a little smoother, but I still left some brush strokes in there. But the brush strokes make it look interesting, make it look fun, have some action and life behind it. So I try not to blend it all the way. Um, are you there?
I'm here.
I can. Okay, I can see you moving. Okay, say something again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there are, or at least there used to be, uh, computer programs that would paint and simulate it, but it didn't really get the texture, But yeah, like right here, I don't know if you can see, but I'm intentionally not mixing the paint all the way. I'm not making it smooth. I'm making it streaky, and so you can't really plan how it's going to turn out.
Right.
You just colors in there and kind of swirl them a bit, swirl them around a bit, and until you get something you like. And I do like that. I love doing that.
That's so cool.
So
That's a really neat creative process. That's a neat thing.
yeah, when I use these small paints, what I do is I'll shake them up and then I'll just work out of the cap,
Yeah.
like this and like that. So yeah, that's but I never use a palette. Um, I can see times where I might need it. Uh, Purple is really hard for me with the colors I use, and I don't know if you saw on my website the story behind my 11 color.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so that Meadows building I painted. I did two of them, so I'm not sure which one you saw, but this one would have been on February 9th, 2016. And another artist, whenever I meet artists who have like much more experience than me, especially in business, I'll say, hey, let me take you to lunch, let me take you to dinner. I just want to pick your brain. I want to get some advice from people who know better than I do. So this one guy said, oh, loosen up your style. And I don't even know if he had ever seen my paintings before, but he suggested I loosen up my style. So I did. I was going over to a friend's house at the time every Tuesday to go paint. She and her husband had a house that they had a big room that she just used as their studio. And I had just, I was fairly new on my own. I'd been on my own like 3 or 4 months. And I had within my grasp, I thought, of a big gig with the city of Dallas. It was going to be a $15,000 gig, and I was so happy about it. I was like, yeah, man, right out of the gate, I'm hitting it big, and then it fell out from underneath me. It just didn't happen. Someone else got it. And so I went over to her house to paint because that was the night for it. And it was Fat Tuesday. It was February 9th, 2016. And I thought, well, I guess I'll just grab the 9 by 12 canvas and I'll paint the Meadows building. And I looked at my photos, said, okay, I'm going to need this color yellow, this color green, this gray, this aqua color blue, this thing, turquoise, I guess. And I just grabbed the colors I needed. Put it in my backpack, went over there. I painted it. I gave myself 3 hours to paint it because I wanted to loosen up my style. And I figured that's one way to do it, is just go as fast as I can. And while I was talking to her about how I didn't know what I was going to do, I'm self-employed now. I've been planning this big project, and now it's gone. And she said, for Lent, instead of giving up something, and which I wasn't really planning to do, she goes, why don't you do a painting a day for 40 days? I was like, well, I mean, I guess I don't got anything else to do, and might as well. So I put that Meadows building painting up that night on Facebook, and it went over really well. The next day I did Statler Hilton before it was finished, before it was done being refurbished. Now, I did not like that painting, but at the time it was like, I'm putting everything up there whether I like it or not. Just do it. And I had a couple of paintings that I did not like that I posted anyway. But after about 20 of those, I started realizing, oh, wait a minute, I'm still using the same 11 colors that I did February 9th. I just never switched them out of my backpack. And well, in fact, I just made a record of it. I got like 400 different paints, different colors. It's not like I'm hurting for colors.
Right.
But I just was using the same 11 ones. And I thought, you know what? That's going to be part of my brand. I'm going to do that. I'm just keep on doing that. And I'm not going to switch, at least for a year. We'll see what happens. And the next day, someone called me up and asked if I could paint a Southwest Airlines plane. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And they hired me to do that. And I started working. I was like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't Southwest Airlines blue.
Right.
And I can't make Southwest Airlines blue with my colors. It won't work. But I had the decision. I just made this commitment yesterday that I'm going to use these 11 colors and nothing else. Should I go ahead and stick with it and try to make it work? Or should I completely ditch the commitment I made yesterday? So I'll give it a shot. I'm going to just do it. And it was not the right colors, but it read properly. It's kind of like if you put on yellow glasses, things are yellower than they're supposed to be, but you still read it correctly. You still know what colors are. And it's kind of like that. I put the Eric Hanson filter on everything. You can tell what it's supposed to be. And so that sealed it. I was like, all right, well, I mentioned all this because with my color palette, purples are very, very difficult. It just does not lend itself to it. So I mentioned all that because purples are one where I might have to use mix it on an actual palette to get it right before I put it up there. Otherwise, I'll just go through a lot of paint.
Right.
But for the most part, I don't use a palette.
Well,
and as I mentioned earlier, I can't give a straightforward explanation for everything. I've got to talk about it for 5 minutes.
No, that's awesome. That's good to know all the details. I mean, I love it. What has been your favorite project that you've done or your favorite painting that you've done?
Oh, boy. Oh, man, I wish I'd thought of that. Well, I like the idea of painting big text every year. The painting itself, to me, it's almost just another painting. But I love going out there every year and doing that. What's my favorite painting, though? Oh boy. Oh, I know which one I like. Okay, do you know the Steinway Hall off of McComas in 75? It has a big piano sign. I always thought it looked like a bowling alley when I was a kid. So, hang on a second. About how are we doing on time?
We have.
We got like 15.
Yeah, 15 minutes. A little bit over.
Okay, hang on just a second. I got the painting right here. I'll show you.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
you recognize this sign?
Yes. That's awesome.
So that is my favorite thing to paint. I've painted it like about 4 times. The owner of the store has one of them,
Oh,
so I'm pretty happy about that.
that's
Um, but yeah, I love. I kind of joke, but I'm kind of serious. If I could just make a living painting that the rest of my life, I would be happy. I just love it. I've only sold a couple of them. Actually, the first one I did was a little 9 by 12 in my white background style. But when I say my white background style, I started off doing paintings like this,
awesome.
little 9 by 12s. I even had a white background on. I called those my daily paintings because I did one a day. But I did one of the pianos building, and some guy, and I knew him, but he was in California, bought one. The next week he won an Emmy. So if you look on my if you look on my Instagram page, scroll down at some point, you'll see he sent me a picture of my painting next to his Emmy.
That is
So I was cool.
that's
But
so cool.
yeah, I love that sign, and I would love to just do 100 different variations of it. Of course, if no one buys it, then I'm stuck with 100 paintings, so I can't do that. But yeah, I would love. That's my favorite thing to paint. I love that sign.
Oh, is it just like, do you particularly like the signs, or I mean, is it just something special about that one?
Well, I do like painting neon signs. Like I do, I like it enough that I started making up my own fake neon signs to paint. So, in fact, that's what I did in Durant. That's how I kind of got known over there. Is I
Cool.
just kind of almost as a joke, I I couldn't find a landmark to paint there, so I just made up a landmark, and it was a welcome to Durant landmark, welcome to Durant, Oklahoma, with a neon, magnolia on it,
That's so cool.
and they loved it. So now I have several things, different merchandise, T-shirts, coffee mugs,
That's so neat.
stationery,
But
yeah, all with this sign that never doesn't exist anywhere except in my head.
well,
Um,
maybe they'll build something based on it.
that's what now people are starting to talk about. Oh, we need this sign. Like, well, the good thing about it is you can put it wherever you want. Since it doesn't exist anywhere. Um, but yeah, I love painting signs. But that one in particular, I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. As a kid, it used to be Rogers Electric. Steinway bought the building in '92. It's a 1958 building, I believe.
Oh,
And pianos had the same amount of letters as Rogers, so they kept the sign. And it's such an iconic sign too. But yeah, I've always liked the sign. As a kid, I thought it was a bowling alley because it just has that gooey look to it. Um, but it fits well in my colors. It fits well on my canvases, and in my mind, I have a lot of variations I can do on it. I can get a lot of different angles, different lighting, color, stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just like that sign. So that's my favorite thing to paint.
that's awesome.
But I do like going out there every year for big techs.
Yeah. So you worked on
So,
Big Text like his himself this year, didn't you?
yeah, so 4 years ago I found out that they set up big techs a week before the fair starts. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go out there and just watch. See, nobody's going to be out there. I'm just going to watch them. And I go out there like at 7 or 8 in the morning, and there's like 200 people just kind of hanging around. And turns out that's what people do. The week before fair opens, they go watch big tech set up. So people who are retired or people who just take off morning for work or taking their kids out of school to come watch it or whatever. And there's like probably 200 people out there. And there's news crews. And I thought, oh, I know what I'm going to do next year. This is 4 years ago, whatever. I lose track of the years. But next year, I'm going to go there with an easel and a canvas, and I'm going to paint a picture of big text right there in front of them. Now, I don't know if they're going to allow me to do that, so I have to be ready for them to kick me out of the park. And if they do, that's fine. So I go there and start painting. I show up there at like 6 in the morning, and they don't actually prop them up until 10. But go start painting, and people were watching, and ended up selling it fairly quickly. Not at the fair, but elsewhere. And then I thought, well, I'll do it again. I just want to get on the news. So that's my thing. I just want to be 10, 15 years from now. I want to be, oh, here's the guy who is always here at the state fair. He's been out here for 15 years. I want to be that guy. Yeah, this year I was planning on going out there, but I didn't know. I kind of heard through the grapevine that they were going to set up big techs, and I wanted to go out there, but they weren't announcing when they were setting them up. And I found out that they didn't want anybody out there because they didn't want crowds out there. But one of my, I have some contacts there, and one of them said, no, they want you to come out. Just here's how to get in. You're going to be one of the people. They're going to let the press in, and they got to let the crane people in. But you're one of the people they want in. I never got an invitation before. I just showed up.
Right.
So that was really nice. And then when I was there, first of all, I got interviewed by 2 news crews, so that was cool with Channel 11 and Channel 5. But then before that, right before they set up Big Techs, one of the guys noticed a scratch on his hand, one of the crane guys, and they have the touch-up paints there, and they said, "Hey, we're not really sure about how to do this, but you're a painter. Could you do it?" I'm like, "All right." So I said, "Just take a picture of me." So I just went up there. It took me like 30 seconds or whatever.
That's
but
so cool.
now I've painted Big Techs. So that was kind of fun.
Yes, that is awesome. That's kind of like a bucket list thing, I feel like.
Yeah. But I'll tell people this. A friend of mine, she's a lawyer, and she'd always told me 90% of life is just showing up, and most people don't show up. And if you just show up to things, you're going to have a lot of opportunities that everyone else doesn't have. And she ended up doing very well just by showing up when other people weren't showing up. And so she was saying that, though. She had that motto before she started doing well. She just did it, And so that was kind of my thing. I show up, and I don't wait till I get invited. I've only been kicked out of one place,
Nice.
and they were very nice. The Dallas Museum of Art asked me to leave,
Oh,
but they were super nice about it. I was surprised they let me in there for as long as they did, to be honest. Most of the time, I just show up, and if they kick me out, they kick me out. But everyone's been super cool about it. And yeah, that's kind of my thing now. Is just I show up, and things will happen.
right.
That's
a good motto.
Took it from my friend. Yeah.
That's a good motto. Let me see. It looks like we have probably 10 minutes. So I'm going to ask you just a couple more questions, and then if you want to tell a story, you can, or we can just watch you paint. So what do you do for fun?
I'm so boring these days. I like going for walks. I live off of Knox at 75, and I love this part of town. And I love, going with a neighbor, and we just go walking. We'll just walk to downtown or whatever, and just walk and talk, and maybe grab something to eat or whatever. Love doing that. That's pretty much all there is to do right now in my mind. I used to ride my bike a lot. I haven't done that a lot recently, but I did do it Sunday, and I did it for 16 miles on Monday. So I'm still a little sore from that. But I like doing that. I just like hanging around people, to be honest. That's what I like doing. I don't really do that much these days, this year. But I love just hanging around people, whether it be one person or 10.
Right.
I don't really care what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay. What is your most useless talent?
I can sing the alphabet backwards.
What? Yeah, that's you.
You want to hear it?
Sure.
ZYXW, VUT, SRQ, PONMOKJIHG, FEDCBA. So if you play it backwards, it'll be the right tune.
Wow.
How's that for you? Actually, that's not completely useless. If I ever get suspected of, driving under the influence and they ask me to say the alphabet backwards, I don't really drink that much, so I'm covered.
Right. That's awesome. Did you like memorize that, or is that like a brain thing you're just able to do?
No, I actually I learned how to do it in driver's ed when I was 15 because they said, oh, sometimes they might pull you over and ask you to say the alphabet backwards. So I spent the rest of the class learning to say it
That's
backwards. And I just never forgot it.
oh,
When I went home that day, I played it on the piano and just did it backwards. So I was like, oh, well, okay, now I got the tune. So yeah, I've known that for 30 something years now.
one of those things that doesn't go away. What's something that you wish you had known when you were younger?
Oh, I wish I'd had the confidence to start my own business when I was younger. I was 40 by the time I started painting the splatter paintings. That was in 2000. Let's see, 2011. I turned 40 that year, and I didn't go out on my own until 2015. So I was 44 and a half then. So yeah, I just heard the other day that the average age for entrepreneurs is 40, which means half of them are older. I didn't know that before, and I wish I had started as my own business when I was in my 20s. Um, but I did things the way you're supposed to do it. I get a job and have security and all that. But it's no more secure.
No.
Although I will say it's a lot less work when someone else is doing business and things.
Yeah, true. True, true. And my last question is, what advice would you give to someone who was starting out and they really wanted to do, their art for a living? What is like one piece of advice you would give them?
Make it as easy as possible for people to buy your work. I've seen a lot of artists who I tell people the art business is 10% art and 90% business. And if you just do the art, that's fine, but you'll have a hobby.
Right.
If you want to run a business, you got to run it like a business, and that means you do all the things that an employer would normally do, which is find customers, do marketing, advertising, making phone calls, emails, running errands, shipping, delivery, buying supplies, doing janitorial work, all that stuff. I don't really do the janitorial work as much as I should, but yeah, you got to do all the business stuff. And one of the things about that is make it easy for people to buy your paintings. So get as many eyeballs on your paintings, on your artwork or whatever you're selling, get as many eyeballs on it as possible. And make it easy for them to know who it is, how to contact you, make it easy for them to pay you. For a long time, I didn't take Venmo and credit card. I didn't want to do that. And I was like, well, I'm just making it more difficult for people to pay me. And yeah, just make it easy for everyone. And I see a lot of artists that don't think they should have to do that. And you don't. But if you want business,
Right.
you got to make it easy for people to get business.
Yeah.
And that's probably the advice.
That's great advice. And I think, that can carry on to like anything you're selling, like, you got to make it.
Yeah, I consider my job to rack up my business. It's not anybody else's job but mine. So, yeah.
A lot of responsibility.
Yes, it is. I'm not sure I'm ready for it. I've only been doing it for 5 years.
Okay, did you want to tell a story or do you just want to paint? I think we got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I'll just paint, because sure enough, I'll get cut off midway through because I can't tell a 5-minute
Well,
story.
thank you so much.
So I'll just paint.
If you get cut
Yeah.
off, thank you for doing this. I love your work. Anybody who wants to look at your work or buy some of your work, what are some of the places they can find you other than this Instagram?
Okay, so everything I do is Eric Hanson Artwork. That's ERICHANSON Artwork, all one word. So that is Instagram at Eric Hanson Artwork. It's Facebook, Eric Hanson Artwork, and it's my website, www.erichansonartwork.com. And yeah, if you see me on Instagram, Instagram's the best place to see just a good selection of my work. If you want to buy it, go to my website. Facebook, it's there. But yeah, Instagram and my website are the best places.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and good luck on the job stuff. I know how hard it can be.
Thank you.
So, all righty. Well, thank you, and I'll just paint until we cut out.
That sounds good to me.
All righty. Bye bye.
Bye.
I'm still.